So I'm Lim Fen Nee. I chair the Malaysian Institute of Accountants Digital Technology Implementation Committee, and I also sit as independent board member on various corporate entities in Malaysia. So I'm actually here to support one of our digital implementation committee's role to support the technology adoption in accounting profession, and we also want to see innovation happening at the services in public practices, and also about talent pipeline. It's going to the you talk about like future workforce, and this is what we want to have to support, and also we want to see accountants being elevated in their role to be a strategic business advisor in digital economy. So as in my role also, I do speak to graduates, undergraduates as well at universities, and there's a lot of question being raised that if I do accountancy courses alone, would that be sufficient? Or when I go into a workforce, does that mean that I have to upskill myself in digital skills, knowledge, resources, and so forth? So my take on this is that it becomes more competitive, in the future, and it is a competitive advantage, especially to acquire digital skill set. Right. So one of it, obviously, you talk about Gen AI, ChatGPT, and that really helps a lot, especially when you have this sort of skill set, because it's a demand that's required in the workforce itself. And even then, if you talk about getting yourself ready, getting into the role of future, we don't know what's going to happen, right? So as it is, we talk about ChatGPT. 6 months ago, it's been introduced. There is a lot of uptake, and a lot of organizations are already using that. So again, this is something that the organization needs, and if there's a demand, there is a need for a talent to go into that pool together. So I think in DTIC, part of initiatives also, we came up with what you call it the ethical consideration with respect to technology adoption by the accounting profession. That's really important because ultimately, if you use Gen AI, ChatGPT, all these considerations, these are just tools, right, enabler to help the accounting profession in their duty and their work. And again, what's important is the governance over this tool. So ethical consideration, if you look at MIA bylaw, that comprises 5 principles. Number 1, integrity. Number 2, objectivity. Number 3, professional competence and due care. Number 4 is about confidentiality, and lastly is about professional behavior. So all these things also revolves around accountability of accountant. So if you use any Gen AI to generate, information, to generate insights, to generate analysis that comes out from Gen AI, you are still accountable to the data that's generated. So as an accountant, again, the accountability, the responsibility of you hold on to the data that's generated, it's, it continues to be your responsibility. So it is important then how do you demonstrate that? In order to demonstrate that, again, ethical leadership is really important, right? That's how you mold the culture of the whole organization, and that's one part of it. Number 2, any tool that you use, it's the same thing. If you talk about the output of a tool, can you actually rely on the data? Right, so data reliance is important, and what accountants should do also is to validate the data that is generated from any tool, whether it's from ChatGPT and so forth. And so these are really important because you're the custodian of the data, and how you're going to use it subsequently, that's important. And obviously, we talk about confidentiality, about data privacy, and someone has to be really conversant on on PDPA, right, the Protection Data Act. So that's really important because as an accountant, again, you need to ensure that you maintain confidentiality of all the data that's generated or the usage of the data. And the issue about ChatGPT especially, because it comes in, or rather it is gathered from a trained data, right? Trained data set. And we don't know if the data set itself, which is the input, right, of the data, it's biased. So if it is biased, then whatever it is generated out, it would be a biased output. So you have to be careful. So accountant, you have to maintain objectivity, critically analyze any data that comes out from any AI tools that you use, any platform that you use, and also the safeguard of it, right? So that's on data privacy, confidentiality, and obviously you need the right talent to be able to analyze those data, right? To eyeball those data, and again to be able to look at it whether it makes sense. So again, as an accountant, regardless of any tool that you use, you have to maintain again your skepticism, critically analyze all the data that comes out, validate them, whether or not it's reliable, and then ultimately you need to make a judgment, because you still need to make a decision. Any AI tool will not be able to make a decision for you. You have to make a decision, right? So again, so these are some of the ethical considerations that you need to know. But ultimately, again, I would want to conclude saying that a lot of people say, do you need to embrace AI? My take is embrace AI, but know the risk that comes with it. What are the limitations that comes with it, and use it wisely.